So one of my goals in 2025 was to start back up this channel again and start vlogging again. And quite simply, that just didn't happen. I think I might have posted twice on this channel, and I just had focus elsewhere, I guess you could say. I shared my story of kind of what happened when I was gone, in all of that time that has passed. So if you're interested in seeing that, go ahead and click the video. I'll try to link it here for you all. But so my focus in 2025 was getting out of debt. I am now 39 years old, but at the time I was 38 when I fully got out of debt. It was my first time getting out of debt since I was 18 years old. Really, I started getting the debt once I was 18 and have had it my entire life. And it just consumed me, and I was tired. So, I would waste time doing other things like doom scrolling on my phone instead of being productive. But I am here. I'm ready. I definitely want to make something of this channel again and document my journey. If you are seeing this in your feed, maybe that means that you've subscribed in the past, or maybe it's just hitting you in your feed now and you've not seen me before. But if you are subscribed, this was a channel where I documented my weight loss journey for many years. There was a point in documenting my journey where results just were not happening anymore. Again, I share that on another video, but to briefly recap, I was chronically dieting for 10 years. I once was doing Weight Watchers for many years. I lost weight twice on the program. I lost 40 pounds each time. And I've sort of yo-yoed my whole life. I've had an ED my whole life, like since I was a teenager. And I will say the program back in the day definitely triggered the ED. Like, I should just post clips for you just so you can see, like, my body has changed a lot throughout the years. Like, this is the largest that my body has been. I'll step back so maybe you can see, but I guess I'm putting this out there for everyone. I mean, this is what the channel was, right? So this is my starting point. I'm not comfortable sharing my weight on camera, but one of my goals for 2026 is to lose a minimum of 35 pounds up to, like, doing great, up to 50 pounds. So I'd like to, at the very least, lose 35 pounds. But overall, my weight loss, I want to be more than that. But I know that based on where I want to be, that is not a realistic number to say anything more than what I gave you already. That means that I'm going super extreme, and that might trigger some of my ED from the past. I loved Weight Watchers. I did. It helped me with my weight loss, but there's just something about it, the lack of transparency. I don't know, there's something with the program that just wasn't working. I, as I said, lost weight twice, a significant amount of weight on the program. And then there was a certain point where I genuinely was tracking. I was doing the things, and I was no longer able to lose the weight. And so, I don't even remember what year it was. It might have been like maybe 2021-ish, where I decided to manually track what I was consuming that day. I wish I had the note card. I don't think that I do anymore, but, or the Post-it, whatever it was. I'll try to look for it, but the equivalent was around 1,200 calories. I met with a nutritionist back then, and basically she told me that's what a 5-year-old should be eating. So I was way under eating. I was not nourishing my body. I've been chronically constipated my whole life, low energy, mood swings, that sort of thing. And I will say, like, when I got with her and started working on the eating side of things, there was a lot of changes mentally and physically. Like just increasing how much I was eating was making me feel better. I was able to be a daily number two use, is that what I want to say? A daily bathroom user, I'll say, even sometimes more than once a day. I was giving my body the proper nutrients. I was feeding it. I was in better moods. I felt stronger. Increasing my food intake was making me feel better. Just all around, just so many benefits. I don't have them written down off the top of my head. If I sat and I really thought about it, I could probably name off a whole bunch, but it was incredible. So just kind of give you a debriefing. So I was working with her and we were working on a reverse diet. So I was chronically underfed. I was not able to lose weight on Weight Watchers. And don't get me wrong, it's not just Weight Watchers. There, at the time, a few years ago, there's other tracking things out there, like really anything, even just a Google search and putting in information in a calculator, everything was around 1,200 calories. Noom, MyFitnessPal, Weight Watchers, some random Google search, whatever calculator that existed. It was all 1,200 calories for a 5-foot nothing frame, like 5-foot half-inch, we'll call it. Like when you're a short person, I don't know, it's just the energy expenditure, I don't know. Like I've heard it's a bit different, for a short person. I can't get into all the scientific stuff. I can't properly explain that to you. I'm not certified in anything, but I have just heard from gurus or people that know these things that the formula doesn't necessarily translate for a shorter person. So then when you put in all those numbers into the calculators, it's like, well, can't technically go lower than that. So like, let's just put them at 1,200. So after a while, your body just adjusts and it gets used to eating that little of amount. But anyways, I was working with my nutritionist and we were about to get into a cut and I was having gallbladder issues. And so that messed me up for months. I went to the ER and so she had to adjust my macros and everything. And my body was like inflamed and everything. Come to find out, like on Weight Watchers, I was eating low fat all the time. So because we were increasing my macros, my fat that I was consuming was higher. And here to find out, I have a crappy gallbladder. It runs in my family, apparently. My sister had surgery, had hers removed. My mom has had gallbladder issues. And I apparently have gallbladder issues. I still have my gallbladder. I decided not to get surgery to have it removed because after the ER visit, I had a follow-up about that. And they said, technically, you can keep your gallbladder. I didn't have gallstones. And I wanted to keep it. I wanted to do the lifestyle changes to be able to keep that body part of mine. I was with my nutritionist and she adjusted things and eventually, we're working, getting back up to where I was, getting me up to the highest point that I could go, like my set point. So that way I could go into a deficit. So we were a few weeks into my deficit and that's when I had my retinal detachment and had my emergency eye surgery. And that was a long healing journey. I was out of work from July 10th, and I didn't go back to work until sometime October. And this past July of 2025, that was 2 years post surgery. And, I became legally blind over that. I am wearing contacts. So basically, without any eyewear, I'm legally blind. But with eyewear, I can get my vision, to where I can function. My prescription that I have is not where it needs to be to like fully be able to see properly out of my eye, just because I wasn't a full-time glasses wearer in the past. My body just can't handle like the huge adjustment. Even after all this time, I just had an appointment with my eye doctor and we bumped me up too, but there's still a lot of room in which I needed to go for closer to near perfect vision with corrective lenses and contact lenses and whatnot. With a combination of during the vid 2020, going work from home, And then, all these years later, 2023, that happening, a few months later, finding out I'm legally blind. It led to depression, a lot of weight gain throughout this time. I want to say I gained 35 to 40 pounds in just that time period alone. So it's a lot of weight on my short frame, my very, very short frame. So anyways, I got out of debt. I did purchase a car. That was to help me be able to have confidence in driving again. I barely left my house. I had a 2012 Nissan Sentra, and it was right before all of these fun little features were coming out in vehicles and all the fun safety features. And I thought long and hard, and I was very intentional about it, but I decided to take on car debt and fast track it. And my goal really is to pay it off within 2 years, 2.5 years. But I have been able to be more independent and leave the house. Prior to the car purchase, I could remember driving myself to the gym, and I have problems. I have astigmatism on top of it, so it makes it extremely difficult in low light, in winter conditions, in rain, in the dark. Did I say that? So there was a time where I was coming out of the gym, and it was a lower light. It wasn't dark, but it was lower light, and it was raining hard, and I almost hopped the curb. And then even just now in 2025, in about March, it was raining, and I was driving my Nissan at the time, and my fiance was in the passenger seat, and it started raining, and I absolutely could not see. And that happened another time after that. Those few things that have happened just have knocked my confidence down with driving, and I just never felt comfortable. So all of that to say, I did purchase a car. So I was working on building my confidence back up with driving again and everything. And I feel like I'm in a better spot. I feel ready to do this next step in my goals, I guess, and really focusing on my body. And I don't know if I showed this in the last video, but like I said, I am engaged. It's not picking up, but it's a beautiful ring, very sparkly. But Joe and I got engaged November of 2024. And, not only do I want to lose weight for myself, to feel better in my skin, more confident, but, I'd also love to look and feel my best when we do get married. So I did get a lot of the ads for Weight Watchers. They were pushing it hard. And I will say I was very intrigued. So I was chatting with Chat GPT and getting an idea through him. He's a him to me, of what sort of macros, and the macros that he suggested for me. He knows all about my history of ED and all of that, the yo-yoing, everything. So he gave me kind of a range, but kind of like, a mid-range of around macros that were equivalent to 1,500-ish calories instead of 1,200. 1,500 is a lot more sustainable. So, but with all of these ads, I was like, oh God, Weight Watchers are my homies, even though I was unsustainable in the past, that's always my worry too with Weight Watchers, is I don't want to go back to that, because it really triggered my ED, because I was anorexic my whole life, teenager, adult life. So I didn't want to be at such a low point again where it would trigger that in me, because I look back on this channel and I see, I can physically see I was struggling with ED. I did not look good at some points. I was obsessed with the number chase. But here I am now, 39, with a different mindset. But yeah, so Weight Watchers was advertising, or WW, whatever you want to call it, was advertising a deal where it was like, you buy 6 months and you get 12 months at $11 plus tax. And I was trying to research, what's this about, blah, blah, blah. And my research, I saw that they were advertising that they show the macros now. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So we're still doing the traditional points, but we're going to be transparent. We will love that. We love transparency. And that's the problem with the program. There was no transparency in the past. I had no idea until I manually tracked that I was eating 1,200, sometimes less calories a day. So it makes so much sense why my body adjusted, because it was like, yo, girl, if we keep you at 1,200 calories, you are going to pass away. So, like, let's have you stop losing weight at 1,200 calories, shall we? So, yeah. So I saw that and I was like, ugh. And so with this deal that they were having, you essentially do get locked into the 12 months. But I was like, you know, I have wasted my money on a lot of things in life. So, like, what is the problem? Let's just try it. So we tried it. And boy, let me tell you, I am vibing. I am vibing with the new app. I'll put stuff on the side here and like a screen recording, whatever, because I wish this stuff existed. Maybe it did. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but I mean, it doesn't matter because it ended up working out. But I hated the idea of locking myself in and it still being the same traditional, super low points range. So the cool thing about it now is, you put in your information, they tell you the points that you get, and come to find out too, the weeklies that you get, like, that is part of it too. Like, you should be eating those weeklies if you need to, not avoiding them. Like, to me, I saw it as like, oh no, I'm dipping into the weeklies, so that's not good. That means I failed. If I went over my daily budget of points, if I'm dipping into the weeklies, I'm a failure. So that was part of it too, in the past. So when I downloaded the app and signed up, it is transparent. So it gives you a low end and a high end of macros for you. Now, when I show you this, this is my own personal data. So don't take this as, oh, I can do that too. That's totally going to work for me. You and I are different heights. We're different weights. I didn't disclose my weight. I'm not going to disclose my weight. Maybe one day, but not now. So it gave a low end and a high end. And I screenshotted all of that and I sent it over to my guy, Chat. I call him Chet, technically, whatever. So, so anyways, circling back, he was like, oh, that's great. Basically, the mid-range is actually what I was suggesting for you with macros. So this is great. Don't go to the low end because that gets you around 1,200 calories. It gave a range. So the low end is way too low. If you do it, don't stay on there. Because some days maybe you're just not hungry for whatever reason. And so, like, that's the absolute low, but don't stay there. Mid-range is like where you want to be. And then per what he believes by TDEE and all of the things with what we determined for me, he felt that more so the high end is more like a maintenance phase. So let's not do the high end, but hey, if you do, then maybe you just won't lose weight. So I absolutely love that. Just beyond that, there's just so many other things with the app that I really enjoy. So sometimes at a quick breeze over, you don't know what that equals calories wise. And they have a little customization part of the app where I was able to add in that I do want to see the calories. So, I'm tracking my points, which I get 23 a day. And then there's a lot of free points. Like if you do eggs or egg whites or even like trimmed fat of a New York strip steak, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of stuff from all of the food categories. So you can build your eating around the 0 points and do that. But that was the thing in the past too with the program, was that when you tracked a 0 point food, it was like, okay, well, like, technically this shouldn't be unlimited because, of the whole, there's a certain point where you need to be in a deficit and you don't know if you're in a deficit, if you're eating too much or something. So that's what I'm saying is, like, that's why I like the transparency, because you can track the free food and put in the weight of it. And even though it's coming up 0 points for you, it still calculates the macros and what it would equal calories. So even with the 0 point foods, you can still build that in your day, but make sure you're within that macro range that you should be at to lose weight. So I'm really, really excited. I've been tracking so far, not doing great. I wasn't prepared. I just bought it before the sale ended, but I plan to really get a jump start and start this upcoming Monday, which I think is December 22nd, which is perfect. It's kind of like a trial run before January starts of just practicing. And so my best friend, she was exactly in the same boat as me. Kenzie is here. Say hello. She might have been on a video in the past as a kitten, actually. That's crazy. Here, you want to go up here? Hold on a sec. So my best friend pretty much has the same story as me as far as the losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight. She did the whole nutritionist thing with me also. We've been through the journey together, and she did Weight Watchers as well. And so I showed her what the app looked like after I purchased, and she's like, oh my God, I love that. I have her as an accountability partner, but please, even if you're not doing WW and you're on a weight loss journey, comment below. We can keep each other accountable, and talk about our struggles, that sort of thing. So I would like to bring this channel back to life. I know I felt like I've said that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense why I failed in the past. What I was doing in the past was just completely unsustainable. And my body was just beat up from the unsustainability of 10 years of chronically dieting, which I did not know that you're supposed to take a break every now and then. You shouldn't just keep going, especially when you're at a low range like that. If you're going to go extremely low, it's meant to be only a few weeks, because me being an example of that, if you keep doing that, you ruin your metabolism. And not to say this is a metabolism only thing, that it wasn't a me thing too, where I was not moving my body enough. But I will say, leading up to the vid and work from home, I was tracking and doing the things, and I was not losing weight. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because I know it's so easy to just pass off blame and say oh, my metabolism tanked. No, it genuinely tanked. I was doing everything that I was doing, moving my body and tracking my foods and all that stuff. So I'm really excited. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow my journey, or if you are on a journey too, putting it out there is a great way of accountability for me. I love documenting my journeys on the tube. And if you are interested in debt journeys or personal finance, I can link that channel below, but I will be documenting my newer debt payoff journey. But thank you so much. If you have made it to this point, leave me an emoji down below of barbells. I think that's an emoji. I don't know, but that tells me that you are a real one. But thanks for watching. Bye.